Hello everyone and welcome to Stimulus Academy. So the topic for today is the human respiratory system. So in this video we'll be including the important structures that are involved in our respiration. So now let's start with the video. So the first thing is that you need to know the difference between respiration and breathing. So what is breathing? Breathing is the exchange of gases. That is like the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is produced by our cells and oxygen is inhaled. So this inhalation and exhalation is known as breathing. So the process of exchange of oxygen from the atmosphere with carbon dioxide produced by the cells is known as breathing. Okay. And what is respiration? So basically respiration is how energy is evolved in our body. Okay, so this will include everything starting from breathing and ending at how oxygen is exhaled. Okay, so it involves all the important cellular respiration processes, how gases are transported through blood. Okay, so respiration is the process in which living organisms involving the production of energy, typically with the intake of oxygen. So it starts with the intake of oxygen and the release of carbon dioxide, and it will be involving the oxidation of complex organic substances. So what are these complex organic substances? The carbohydrates that we take, in some cases proteins and fats also. Okay, so these are the important complex organic substances that are oxidized to release energy. So this complete process in which energy is evolved is known as respiration. So we can say that respiration involves breathing. Breathing is a part of respiration. The exhalation and inhalation and exhalation of air is a part of the complete process respiration. Okay. So now we'll be talking about the pathway of breathing. That is how air enters inside our lungs. Okay. So starting with it, we know that air is inhaled through our nostrils. Okay. So the first part is the pair of external nostrils. So these are the pair of external nostrils and they open above the upper lips. Okay. So I have taken the lines directly from NCERT. So you need to pay attention to each and every word. I'll be highlighting the important words that can be asked as MCQs. So the pair of external nostrils, they open up above the upper lips. Okay. And these nostrils, they lead to a chamber which is known as the nasal chamber, because it is present inside our nose. So it is known as the nasal chamber. Okay, so the path between nostrils and the nasal chamber. Okay, so this passage is known as nasal passage. Okay, so the pair of nostrils opening out above the upper lips, and these nostrils, they lead to a nasal chamber through the nasal passage. Okay, so after the air has entered inside the nasal chamber, what happens next is that this nasal chamber opens up into pharynx. Okay, so now you might be knowing that what is pharynx. A special point about pharynx is that it is a common passage for food and air. Okay, so we know that we have different passages for food and air. Okay, but these passages must be combining somewhere, so that common point is known as pharynx. After pharynx, there is a division between the pathway for air and that for water, that for food. Okay, so this common chamber, this common portion is known as the pharynx. So now the air has entered the pharynx. After pharynx, this air will go inside the trachea. Okay, so the pharynx opens through the larynx region into the trachea. So there is a region between the pharynx and trachea which is known as a larynx. Okay, so what is larynx? Larynx is a cartilaginous box. Please pay attention to this thing, that it is a cartilaginous box that is made up of cartilages. Okay, so it is a cartilaginous box which helps in sound production. So the function of larynx is that it helps in sound production, and because of this only it is present in our air passage, because we need air for sound production. So larynx is present in the air passage. Okay, so larynx, which is also known as sound box. Okay, now during swallowing. Okay, so after pharynx there are two separate passages for food and air. So what if we are eating and food accidentally enters inside our air passage? So to prevent that, what happens is that the opening for air passage is known as glottis. So there is a cartilaginous flap. Suppose this is the glottis and this is the cartilaginous flap. Okay, so this cartilaginous flap is known as epiglottis. So what happens is that when we are swallowing food, so to prevent the entry of food into our air passage, what happens is that this cartilaginous flaps goes over and covers the glottis. So this flap is covering the glottis, and therefore it is known as epiglottis. epiglottis, because it is coming over the glottis. Okay, so during swallowing, glottis can be covered by a thin elastic cartilage. Again, pay attention to this thing. It is a thin elastic cartilaginous flap, okay, which is known as epiglottis, and this prevents the entry of food into the larynx and thereafter into the whole air passage. Okay, now the air has entered into the trachea. Okay, so now trachea is a straight tube which extends up to the middle thoracic cavity. Okay, so you must be knowing about the cavity, that the cavity where we have lungs and which is basically involved in respiration is known as thoracic cavity, and below that we have abdominal cavity. Okay, so trachea is a straight tube which extends up to the mid thoracic cavity. So please pay attention to this mid thoracic cavity. Okay, and here it divides at the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae. Okay, so it divides at the level of the fifth thoracic vertebrae into right and left primary bronchi. So please pay attention to this diagram here. We have epiglottis, which will be covering the glottis. Then we have larynx. Okay, and larynx is extended into a straight tube which is known as trachea. So we can see that at this level is T5, that is fifth thoracic vertebrae. So at this level, it is dividing into two bronchi, that is the left and the right bronchi. Okay, so these are primary bronchi. Now bronchi will also have divisions, that is primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi. So this trachea is dividing into the right and left primary bronchi. Okay, now this bronchi will in turn undergo repeated divisions, and these two form secondary and tertiary bronchi. Okay, so I was telling you about the different grades. So now this bronchi will be dividing into secondary and tertiary bronchi, and thereafter into bronchioles. Okay, so we can see the hierarchy, that is the primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi. Now these tertiary bronchi will be dividing into bronchioles. So these are very thin terminal bronchioles. Terminal means it will be ending here. So this will be the end. So okay, so primary bronchi, secondary, tertiary bronchi, and then terminal bronchioles. Okay, so now the trachea, the primary, secondary and tertiary bronchi and the initial bronchioles are supported by incomplete cartilaginous rings. So please pay attention here that the trachea, the primary, secondary, tertiary bronchi and the initial bronchioles. So we are not including the terminal bronchioles here, we are including the initial bronchioles here. So all these are covered by incomplete cartilaginous rings. So now why are these rings present? So these are present so as to provide support so that this framework does not collapse. So because of this, they are covered by incomplete cartilaginous rings. Okay. Now after we have reached the terminal bronchiole, so now this bronchiole will be giving rise to a number of very thin, irregular walled and vascularized bag-like structures which are called as alveoli. So please pay attention to every word. The first one is thin. So why does it have to be thin? Because it has to allow the exchange of gases, so it has to be thin. So very thin, irregularly walled. So it does not have a smooth, regular wall. It is irregularly walled and vascularized bag. Why is it vascularized? Because it has to absorb these gases. Okay, and the blood will absorb these gases and then it will transport. So for that, it is important that we have like a very nice circulation. So because of that, it is highly vascularized. So these are vascularized bag-like structures. Okay, so once again we'll be going through this diagram. We have epiglottis here, then this is larynx, then we have trachea. So here we can see these incomplete cartilaginous rings. So these rings will be continuing till the initial bronchiole. See here, these are the initial bronchioles. So it is continuing till here, and these are incomplete cartilaginous rings. Okay, so after this bronchus, okay, we this bronchus will divide into alveoli. Okay, so these are the alveoli. So now let's move on to the next slide, which is these are some of the important facts. Okay, so the first thing is that the branching net. Now what is a lung? If someone asks you what are lungs, okay, so basically this branching network of bronchi, that is the primary, secondary and tertiary bronchi, the bronchioles and the alveoli, all these come together to form the lungs. Okay, now we have two lungs. So these two lungs, they are covered by a double layered pleura. So what is a pleura? Pleura is like the layer that is covering the lungs. Okay, so if this is the lung, we have first layer and then we have another layer. Okay, so there are basically two layers covering the lungs, and these are known as pleura. Okay, Now between these two layers we have a fluid which is known as a pleural fluid. And what is the function of this fluid? Now we all know that during expiration and inspiration, the lung, of course, the volume in lungs will be increasing. So because of this, there'll be rubbing of the two pleural membranes. So in order to reduce the friction, we have this pleural fluid. Okay. Now the outer membrane, that is the outer pleural membrane. Okay. So this outer pleural membrane is in close contact with the thoracic lining. I have already explained that the lungs are present in the thoracic cavity. Okay, so what happens is that assume that this is the thoracic cavity, and inside this cavity, just inside this cavity, we have the outer pleural membrane, then we have the pleural fluid, and then we have the inner pleural membrane, and then the lung. Okay, so the outer pleural membrane is in direct continuation with the thoracic cavity. Okay, so it is in very close contact with the thoracic lining, whereas the inner pleural membrane is in contact with the lung surface. The inner pleural membrane is in contact with the lung surface, outer pleural membrane is in contact with the thoracic cavity, and in between we have pleural fluid. Now the part starting with the external nostrils up to the terminal bronchioles constitutes the conducting part. Okay, so now we'll be dividing this passage into two parts. The first is conducting part and the second is respiratory part. So the function of this conducting part will be to conduct air, and the respiratory part will be to absorb the gases that have come along. Okay, so the part starting from the external nostrils and up to the terminal bronchioles will be conducting part. Okay, and the part thereafter, that is the alveoli and the ducts, will be the respiratory or the exchange part. Okay, so now why is this conducting part important? What is the speciality here? So this conducting part is important because the first thing is that the it is not necessary that the air that we are breathing is in like equilibrium with our body temperature. So it is important to like equalize the temperature of the outer air and that of a body. So what this conducting part does is it brings the air to the body temperature. Along with that, when we'll be inhaling air, we'll also be inhaling some foreign particles and like some dust particles and everything. Okay, so it is important to remove that. Okay, so what this conducting part does is it clears the air from the foreign particles. It humidifies. Humidification is also important because otherwise the epithelium, it will become like dehydrated. So it is important to humidify the air. Okay, so this is the function of conducting part. Now this was all about the conducting part. Now we'll be moving on to the respiratory part. Okay, so respiratory part is basically involved in exchange of gases. Okay, so the exchange part is the actual site of diffusion of oxygen and CO2 between the blood and atmospheric air. So the exchange part includes the alveoli and the alveolar duct. So what is happening here is that there is diffusion. There is diffusion. Please pay attention to this thing, that there is diffusion of the oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay. So where does this gas diffuse to? Okay. So the blood, we know that alveoli are vascularized. So the blood will be absorbing these gases, and so there is exchange between the atmospheric air which is present inside the alveoli and the blood which is present in the capillaries that are surrounding this alveoli. Okay, so now the lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber, which is anatomically an airtight chamber. So now these points that I'll be discussing, this will be this is a very important concept which will be used when I'll be explaining the mechanism of breathing. Okay, so please pay attention to this part. We know that lungs are present inside the thoracic chamber, and I've told you that the external pleura is in close contact with the thoracic lining, and the inner pleura is in close contact with the lung. Okay, so the lung is situated in the thoracic chamber, and which is anatomically an airtight chamber. So air can come inside lung only through the passage that we have discussed. Okay, so otherwise it is an airtight chamber. Now the thoracic chamber, now we'll be talking about the boundaries of thoracic chamber, that what is present in front of thoracic chamber, behind. Okay, so the thoracic chamber is formed dorsally. Dorsally is like the back part. Okay, so in the back we all know that we have the spinal cord also, or the vertebral column. Okay, so the thoracic chamber is formed dorsally by the vertebral column. Okay, ventrally, that is in front, we have sternum. Okay, so in case you do not know what dorsal and ventral are, please refer to the part which has been taught to you in animal kingdom. There they teach exactly what is dorsal, what is ventral. Okay, so dorsally, that is behind, we have vertebral column, and ventrally, that is in front, we have sternum. Okay, and laterally we have the ribs. Okay, so laterally we have the ribs, and on the lower side, okay, so just below the lungs, we have a dome shaped diaphragm. So a dome shaped diaphragm is present. Okay, so let's see in this diagram. Okay, so this is the dome shaped diaphragm. Laterally we have these ribs. Okay, and just behind we'll be having the vertebral column, and in front we'll be having sternum. Okay, so the anatomical setup of the lungs and the thorax is such that any change, this is a very important line, that any change in the volume of thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lung. Okay, so this is a very important line, and you have to understand this, that the anatomical setup of lungs, how the lungs are placed, is actually defining that any change in the volume of thoracic cavity. So if there is a change in the volume of thoracic cavity, there will automatically be a change in the volume of lungs. Okay, so this line is very important. I'll be explaining it to you in detail in the mechanism of breathing part. Okay, so the anatomical setup of the lungs is in the thorax is such that any change in the volume of thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lung. Okay, so this lung is also known as pulmonary cavity, so it will be reflected in the uh, pulmonary cavity. Okay, so this arrangement is essential for breathing, as we cannot directly alter the pulmonary volume. So I have told you that there is only one passage through which air can go inside the lungs. Okay, and like, you are not actively taking in air. Okay, what is happening is that air is going inside because of a pressure gradient. So it is important to maintain this gradient, and the only way to maintain this gradient is by altering the volume of this thoracic cavity. So uh, the way in which the lungs have been anatomically placed is such that any change in the volume of the thoracic cavity will directly be reflected in the volume of lungs. Okay, so this arrangement is essential for breathing. So now this was all about the structures of human respiratory system. Now we'll be talking about the steps of respiration. We'll be like talking about them in a concise form. So the steps of respiration. Okay, so the first step is breathing or pulmonary ventilation, which we have already discussed, that is inhalation and exhalation. Okay, so breathing or pulmonary ventilation, by which atmospheric air is drawn in and CO2 rich alveolar air is released out. Okay, so after these steps, what happens is that the air has reached alveoli. Now there will be diffusion of this air. So diffusion of gases, that is oxygen and CO2, across the alveolar membrane. Okay. Now after this air has reached past cross the alveolar membrane through diffusion, and it has reached the blood, what will happen is that this blood will be transporting these gases into the cells. Okay. So the transport of gases by blood. Okay. Now, after this, we have diffusion of oxygen and CO2 between the blood and the tissues. Now, where are these gases being used? These are used by the cells. Okay, so what is happening is that this blood will be transporting these gases to the tissues, and these tissues will be exchanging this oxygen. So this is the diffusion of oxygen and CO2 between blood and tissues. After the cell has taken the oxygen, what will be happening is utilization of oxygen by the cells for catabolic reactions and resultant release in CO2. So CO2 is released and oxygen is used. Okay, so oxygen will be used, the catabolic process will occur, and CO2 will be released. Okay, so we'll be talking about these steps with the help of this diagram. So here we have inspired and expired air. After that, air has entered inside the trachea, then bronchi, bronchioles, okay, terminal bronchioles, and then this alveoli. Okay, so after this alveoli, what is happening is that this air is going inside the alveoli, and after that it is getting exchanged with the blood. Okay, so this was all that had to be covered in this subtopic. We'll be talking about the next topic, that is the mechanism of breathing, in our next video, and that was all. Thank you.